So Neil is here and Jason. So we'll start with Team Transformers, table number 3. So Team Transformers, you could write down who your speakers are, and then we'll give you the permissions. And also, if we could make Neil, Mobin, and Naz speakers as well, please. So whether Neil's microphone's working, I'm not too sure. Oh, they're all going to speak, great. So you might have to turn my speakers off then or something. There's Neil. Neil, I can see you. Is the microphone working? Oh, I can unmute you. Did you get a little pop-up just then asking you to unmute?
Yeah, it's now all is happiness. Well done, whoever fixed that.
All right, great, awesome. All right. So and we got Divya, Gabriella, Prakash, and who's the fourth one? Tracy. All right, great. So Neil, just when we're if we're not speaking, then we'll turn our cameras and microphones off, just so we can save space for the speakers. All right, brilliant. So you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll my camera up. All right, you guys able to share your screen, or whatever you're doing? Yep, looks good. All right, I'll turn my camera off and microphone off, and start whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Prakash from Team Transformer. Today I'm presenting about renewable hydrogen for sustainable energy future. So introducing the context and problem given by the Woodside. So the net operational demand of the national electricity market has decreased every year since 2016 due to increased production. Excess supply of solar energy leads to operational demand hitting unprecedented low during daylight hours. This can be seen in this dot curve given here. So during peak daytime, where there is surplus solar radiation and surplus solar energy that has generated, but at the same time we can see very low demand that do not only challenge the balance the grid. At the same time, like curtailment need to be imposed to the power producers, wind and solar power producers. So that's why we need some means of energy storage to capture that surplus daytime energy and supply for the evening or early morning peak demand time. So battery storage or pump hydro might be quite more costly options to adopt. That's why our proposal is to go for hydrogen is the best way to correct this discrepancy between supply and demand.
So our team proposed a solution is the distribution of modular hydrogen plants to utilize the companies and industrial operations. So the best part of our solution is we are accommodating all of the renewable energy resources which are sustainable, available, and making it a friendly ecosystem. So these will consist of electrolyzers, refueling, and hydrogen storage facilities that will enable the storage of excess peak energy and meet consumer demand spikes. These facilities will balance the grid to counter the discrepancies in supply and demand. Next, please.
So our proposal to Woodside is that they become the enablers of this service. They will develop or acquire modular plants and then lease them to utility companies. Woodside will be in charge of the operation, maintenance, and support services of these plants. In that way, they will ensure income in the following years and recovering their investment. The initial investment could be also shared with the creation of a consortium with other companies interested in the field. This would also reduce the in new technology. Long run, like we expect that this initiative will have a bigger impact across all Australia. The opportunities are a lot. First of all, we will have new partnerships with the stakeholders, new clients, there will be business diversification and the technology cost reduction. Also, this initiative supports the collaboration for a net zero future and would be part of the roadmap of the emissions reduction for Woodside.
Okay, now I'll just very quickly outline the key benefits of this initiative. For power producers, no more curtailment, and they can now generate at full capacity. This is also an extra new revenue source for power producers and grid operators. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Okay, come on, camera. All right, awesome, great job, guys. I like the almost pretty much fully fledged business plan. That was really awesome to see. And Neil says excellent job. So when the judges are ready, they can ask any questions they'd like. Neil, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Yes. I thought that it was a great job, and you hooked me right away because you framed it as a business model innovation, which is really the arena in which this is occurring. Without resolving the business model innovation, there's no room for the necessary technological innovations to get built and come into being. So I loved your idea of adopt a hydrogen plant and making it easier for the people with the surplus power to have a sort of turnkey decision at low risk and requiring low expertise to take up this offer. And then somebody like Woodside could indeed stand up a number of these units and aggregate the borrowing requirement, aggregate the technological and procurement requirement, and perhaps even aggregate the getting development approval from the relevant authority. I'm gonna have to move my room. So I thought it was super. I suppose the questions that follow from here is how much money would be needed, and some other numbers on that sort of thing. Did you were you able to quantify?
Yeah, Prakash, can you go to the slide of the cost?
Yeah, so like based on the IEA hydrogen and fuel cell roadmap, we picked this from their report, and probably since in our presentation, like our business model emphasized in early short-term period to these decentralized approach, not directly going towards the bigger one promptly. That means decentralized, meaning those early adopters would be utility companies and, for example, fuel stations, petrol and water service providers, or maybe some industry clusters. So the if the tentative cost for that modular one is like capacity would be 10 kilowatt, then probably the cost estimated was like maybe $29,000 or something like that, but that do not include distribution, insurance, and other some operating costs.
Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting you. Then what we did is like, so we got like those basic costs from a paper from IEA, and we estimated that that was the price for a modular plant. And then what we did is like that we assumed that the petrol stations in Australia, at least an initial amount of petrol stations would be 650. That corresponds to the 10% of the whole in Australia. So we basically multiply the income per part and the income per plant, and then we got the margin. We assume that you guys could sell it with a margin of 0.2%. So you would have the first year a margin of $4 million, but we are not very sure on those prices because, of course, the technology is developing really fast, and those are all assumptions. So we didn't have a lot of estimates on the amount of people that we would require, who would be involved. So yeah, that's a very basic price estimation.
Yeah, and the IEA paper we referred was from 2016, and we believe that Woodside has a better plan with low cost. So we are looking forward to know more about it.
Well, that's a good question, Divya. And Gabriella, one of the things that I'm thinking about is not just spending money to make hydrogen, but having to do market formation. Maybe Woodside also needs to offer some transport assets that run on hydrogen and then lease them. Otherwise, there'll be no customers. So where do you think you could quickly create demand? So at some level, maybe at the 15% level or 25% level, you do have some instant customers. And the thing that springs to our mind is the utility trucks for garbage collection, and also hospital ambulances, and also regional bus service, and maybe some heavy trucking. So that in other words, you need to create an island, a hydrogen island that is both the production and the consumption all in one go. And I mean, it's not a big island; it's a small island, but at least then it would exist, and it would be like a stepping stone. And then maybe later on you join these stepping stones together. That's where we're going with it, and it's not going to make us rich, because these islands will have quite a small scale initially.
Yeah.
But unless you start, then the future is always in the future. But when you start, then the future is a few steps away.
Yeah. All right, great. I think Naz or Mobin, did you have a question? We only have time for one more question.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Good presentation, team. The question was more around, so your presentation was focusing on utilities as being sort of the customer, and a bit of an extension to Neil's comment. Did you give any consideration in terms of other customers in the private sector or other industries that could be incorporated into the value proposition, and specifically e-mobility, sort of the electric vehicles, and obviously that's sort of a growing market in Australia and also in WA?
Yeah, so basically we presented that in short term, the early adopters, our target is for early adopters having already some background in gas or oil industry, or maybe in clean energy at a small scale. That is basically for demonstrating this hydrogen storage kind of technology in the market for the social acceptance, and so that in the long run, maybe after 2030, this can be jumped into the next level, that is centralized big hydrogen plants for export and revenue. So yeah, for short term, the niche market would be early adopters like these, as you said. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
We're definitely.
Mobin, did you have a really quick question? if not, that's fine. We'll jump to the next theme.
I guess I could give you a general question about how long this would take to get off the ground.
Sorry, one more. I can hear you well.
Sorry, I don't know if it's my internet, but how long would this take to?
So as soon as Woodside could acquire the modular plants or develop a cost-effective modular plant, this could start to be deployed. And also we had a really big focus on the partnerships and collaboration potential that could be created within like the whole electricity sector. So the power suppliers, start to make conversations with them, start to make conversations with the grid owners, and basically create an environment that is more open to them to reach the balance in the grid, by utilizing hydrogen.
But the end goal is that this initiative will contribute to the goal
Yeah.
of net zero
Mhm.
carbon
Actually-
emissions by 2050.
Yeah, if you are more interested in timeline, so like through the decentralized approach to equalizing the supply and demand in the grid, maybe up to 2025, then by that time infrastructure ready for the transportation sector that can come into act, and maybe by 2030, maybe centralized big plant can start exporting hydrogen, liquid hydrogen into overseas market, maybe 2040 in the industrial interventions, maybe by 2050 net zero. Maybe this can be a tentative timeline as you are into, if
All right, brilliant.
no.
Thank you, team. Very well done. Now if we get the next Woodside team up, get them ready to go. And if you could stop sharing your screen as well, please. Thank you. Has anyone else had the video cut out? No, I didn't have that. Sorry.
Yep. So just like.
So Wei Chi, are you the only speaker for your team?
Yes, I'll be the only one speaking.
Okay, great.
Is it all right? Like the share screen?
Yeah, that's working. Just Neil's just rebooting his computer. He says it should be 2 minutes, 1 minute. So we'll
Yep.
wait for Neil to get back.
Sure.
Very, very impressive. The what everyone's done in 2 or 3 days. Really impressed. Neil should be 1 minute.
Yep.
I said 2 minutes, 1 minute ago. So 1 minute. His laptop. I don't know. His laptop does not seem to be a good laptop. So who was on your team, Wayne? It was yourself.
Pardon?
Who were the members of your team?
So the members of the team are me, Wei Chi Ling, and we've got Tony, Zi Yuan Wang, Rebecca Phillips, and Nakshi Mehta.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Great. Just out of curiosity, what are you guys' backgrounds in terms of studying?
So I'm doing Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering, final year, and Nakshi is doing Bachelor of Commerce Specialist in Economics and Bachelor of Arts. As for Rebecca and Tony, they're both doing Bachelor of Environmental Engineering.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, cool. I think so Neil's just come back online, so I think he's
Okay.
loading the screen.
My little logo.
Be any second. All right, cool. Neil's here. So I think we're ready to go. I'll turn my microphone off and let me get the timer ready. Sorry.
Yep.
All right, and go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. We are the Pentagon team for your green hydrogen solution. The team consists of William, myself, Tony, Rebecca, and Nakshi. Today, we aim to solve a very crucial problem in the grid. The peak decentralized solar PV energy inputs from the residential homes does not coincide the peak time for demand, leading to large amounts of wasted power and makes the grid unstable. Current response in Victoria imposes energy curtailment, which can result in more than 6% of the solar energy output wasted, and hard curtailments are expected. This must be solved. The Pentagon team is here to help. We have a vision to be a promoter, educator, and coordinator to help transition to green hydrogen future that our community and stakeholders can benefit from. So how do we operate? Our core business solutions are to, firstly, purchase excess electricity from solar PV surplus to reduce grid instability at peak generation. We use renewable energy such as wind and solar to power our hydrogen hubs. Lastly, we established a sustainable energy ecosystem that is self-sufficient and commercially viable. The business model aims to use the amount of curtailed energy during peak generation time from solar PV panels and profit from selling hydrogen gas and generated energy. We will set up decentralized hydrogen hubs. We will buy surplus electricity at a competitive price and later discharging using hydrogen electrolysis when prices rise as demand increases. We will educate and obtain funding from community and commercial spaces. This leads to greater community acceptance for hydrogen. We will work alongside major energy users such as PDV Network as starters. In the future, we can grow the model by obtaining more users through marketing and price matching, reducing operation costs, increasing hydrogen production rate, or improving system efficiency. In order to achieve green hydrogen, we source our water supplies from landfills after waste treatment, using existing gray or black water, and/or rainwater storage from our hydrogen hubs. The hydrogen generated can potentially be used in decarbonizing the transport sector using hydrogen as fuel, or in chemical industry to produce products such as ammonia and polymer. We can also blend into existing natural gas pipeline to decarbonize the gas system. Otherwise, we can export Australia's renewable energy sources overseas. Further actions required for the team are to understand first the regulations and incentives that can put into the business, the expense of land. We need in-depth understanding of energy industry interrelations to get better pricing and better political things to carry out. We also need realistic data for selling the hydrogen and electricity. Thank you. We are the Pentagon team, and let's take the first step to create green hydrogen future together.
Sorry, 1 second. Neil, did you have any comments if you are there? And I think you still have the same permissions.
I think the team will open. Yep. Perfect.
Neil, you should be able to unmute yourself. Or we can have Naz, you're already good to go. You got any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. Hi team, great presentation again. You mentioned, first of all, I loved your slogan, the green hydrogen future awaits. So whoever come up with that for full credit. And I also like the vision that you had articulated for the business. You mentioned the purchase of excess solar PV. I'm assuming it's residential solar PV. I'm not sure, just an assumption I'm making. Can you elaborate in terms of what business model, obviously you'd be paying for the purchase of that excess solar? What considerations have you given in terms of the price that you'd put into the marketplace to purchase the excess solar?
We were thinking of just going just a couple of cents above the market rate to provide people the incentive to actually sell us the electricity. Then otherwise they could have gotten from by putting it into the grid.
Right, okay. That's a very bold position to take because all around Australia and I think also WA, but there's normally a feed-in tariff which is significantly below the retail cost of energy. So you may be able to reconsider that from an economics perspective to not necessarily be above the retail price.
Okay. But that I think we take into account because sometimes these prices, although they fluctuate, it tends to be more of a political and more of sort of governmental relation for the actual project to do. Because Victoria currently have been carrying out of hydrogen projects that's underway, And because hydrogen itself is not highly regulated in terms of safety, and if it's used for like electricity, how will the tax market will be like? How will we kind of like, how will the business model move around the regulations, incentives, and probably further policies that will be developed, because hydrogen could potentially be a disruptive product in that if we reduce the cost for generating hydrogen gas and kind of generating the electricity from hydrogen gas, then that will become a very competitive thing. So that is something that the team needs to delve further into, but that will really need like really specific data and kind of studies on the law.
I must admit, I also like the fact that you did call out further information that you need to do to gather and to further build out your business model and proposals. So that was really good to sort of, because normally that's often what happens in the real world, that there's a lot of unknowns. And so you need to sort of identify the data that you need to continue to invest in and collect.
Yeah. It's always better to be prudent in doing like financial decisions. Yeah.
Thank you.
My phone rang. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. All right. Well, Neil, are you there and are you able to ask me questions if you'd like? Or otherwise, Martin can jump in.
Sure. I was wondering what you guys think your competitive advantage is. So if you're buying electricity and then selling it later, wouldn't someone else be able to just copy your business model and then undercut you perhaps and maybe like reduce any profit there's to be made?
So our business model, like what we thought about it was, it's buying and selling of electricity is one aspect of it, but we were looking at other business development opportunities. So when William was talking about things like the transport sectors, to find other commercial users as well, where we can make that, make an additional revenue stream, basically.
Great.
And also, if we really set up this business model, it will kind of be a pioneering private/government/commercial area. So everything will be building at the same time, and we'll also be building the community at our back, because we'll be kind of educating them right about what hydrogen is actually doing. It's not like 5G where they're saying like you have like a lot of kind of noise in the market where you're not sure what that technology is about. So for that, we'll set up webinars, kind of discussion with experts. We'll do websites, a lot of marketing to get things right, and also do like news conferences. So that is just part of the plan to make everything seems legit and pioneering.
Nice, thank you.
I'll give Neil one last chance, maybe using his microphone again. But I'll pass on all his comments to you guys. All right, brilliant. So if we could have the next team, so doing MEI, that was, I believe, Rainmakers. Yes, so if you could please write down the names of who's in your team, who's speaking, then we'll give you the permissions. So Maxine, were you the one speaking? Maxine, Rachel, Gaurav, and Vivian. So all four of you are speaking?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, but would I be able to do it with my camera off? Because I'm just not too sure how good my internet will be. Don't think we can hear you if you're speaking.
If you had any comments to the Woodside team, Neil, then just post them in the chat. Okay. All right. Well, Neil, if you wanted to post your comments while Maxine's doing this, then that's fine. And we'll let the Woodside team read them. So Maxine and Gaurav, whenever you're ready, get my timer going.
Yep.
All right, brilliant. So go when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maxine, and together with my team, Rainmaker, Gaurav, Vivian, and Rachel, we have developed a business model for the increase in uptake of smart meters in homes. To begin, we recognize that there's an imbalance as to how much energy is put into the grid versus how much energy is consumed. To combat the growing duck curve as more households install solar panels, smart meters are linked to flexible rates that make peak hours, as data from the meters can influence company prices. Approximately a quarter of total benefits rely on 75% of the residential consumers in changing their energy consumption behavior. Based on our research, it was shown that 71% of residential owners had neutral or distrust with their energy providers. Transparency. Furthermore, 65% of Australian residential owners are more concerned about the reliability of the products they buy. What are solutions to these fears and make companies seem more transparent to consumers to build trust between them? And moving on to our business model, we're looking at a revamp of apps from flexible tariff energy process. We're looking to make it more user-friendly and interactive, showing them exactly where the off-peak and peak hours are and sending daily energy alerts of these hours. Recommendations to help them be more conscious of their energy usage and their impact on the environment. More importantly, as you can see in the first iPhone image, we have included a list collected from smart meters to promote transparency to the public and hopefully quell any data privacy fears. In doing so, we're educating the consumers and subtly pushing them to shift peak hours. Then the next step would be including the email when they get their electricity bill, a small quote saying, "We've noticed that you shift your load towards more off-peak hours." A smart meter, as well as providing the benefits of having a smart meter coupled with having a flexible load. This thought process was due to the 37% of consumers who have stated electricity management programs and the devices is when they're reading their bill and emails. Based on our timeline, we'll begin with the first step, which is to conduct a consumer. Once this is complete, then we can move on to collaborations and partnerships with electricity companies that have flexible rates and existing apps, then beginning the gamification process. Once this is done, the app should be intuitive for the customers to use, aesthetic, and more transparent. We can then move on to their websites if necessary. Then further education with the uptake of smart meters to current numbers by 2030, or 2025, sorry. For a gamification service for providers to become more transparent, easy to use, and interactive for consumers. Flexible tariffs and the eventual. Thank you for your time, and we'll open the floor to any questions.
Great job, guys. Naz, you've got a question pending?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Alex, and thanks, team. It's an interesting sort of concept and presentation that you've made, because I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but this actually concept of gamification has entered the Australian marketplace with Origin Energy, with a joint venture with OHM, the US company. So the first time Australia actually has gamification type of concept, rewarding customers for changing their behavior and using less energy. So very topical. Can you talk to me, I'm not sure if I understood how you would incentivize the take-up of smart meters, and specifically around the costs. So there's a cost associated with smart meters. Did you explore how the business model will cover the cost of smart meters and whether consumers would have to pay and what that would cost?
Yep, so I can answer that question. So in terms of our actual business model, we were hoping that in our app we'd have a list of different things that customers could do in order to reduce their energy consumption and be more energy efficient. One of those things, if you drop down that list tab, it gives you recommended appliances, like advertising essentially. So that is in a way gaining revenue for us because we're sort of advertising and getting a commission based on that. In terms of the uptake of smart meters, we were looking at it more of a broader perspective about how consumer behavior needs to be changed in the long term in order to actually get people to even consider paying even a little bit for smart meters. And that's why we were sort of focusing on finding a way, such as through the gamification process, in order to actually get them to that position. I hope that answers your question. If anyone else wants to, that's okay.
So would there be a cost by the consumer to install a smart meter?
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes, so there probably will be. We would hope that it would be in a sense subsidized by the government or even by the energy company, but that is something that we would have to look into in terms of the customer feasibility report and actually seeing if people would be willing to pay the $600 and maybe a little bit more even for that smart meter.
Right, thank you.
I would also like to add in that we have also touched the part where the customers can pay the double the amount, and he can deposit that, and the energy provider can deposit that money in a bank, and after like 10 years we can repay the money the principal amount back to the customer, and we will get our interest rate from the bank, and we'll get our money like the cost of the smart meter. So it's a win-win situation for customer and the energy provider.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. Pranya, did you have any questions? No. Mobin or Naz, any last questions?
So do you guys have a sense of how long it would take to recoup the investment by the consumer before you think this would be like economical for them? So like what's the maximum price someone would pay for this, and like do you have any sort of reasoning around that?
For the meter? Sorry.
You guys, sorry.
For the smart meter, you mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of a consultancy to energy providers and to customers. So we kind of gamifying the app for the energy providers, and we will be educating the customers also. So and with the interest plan we have developed, so by that I think.
Hey Alex, I cannot hear at the moment.
I think the customer will invest in it because it's gonna, the meters are free for them at a long run. If they if you install 1 meter, the in a lakh, some 10,000 meters will be bad. So company keeps a share out to replace that odd meters out, and will have a total risk assessment for the interest and everything. Financial data will calculate, and that's all.
I suppose I'll add on to that as well. So our customers aren't actually the consumers themselves, which are the household owners. So they're not bearing any costs. What our solution is proposing, what we're proposing with our solution is that we want to take pre-existing apps that smart energy providers have and gamify it. So through that gamification, hopefully energy providers can get more customers there, and they can earn revenue through the existing product. So our customers is to the energy providers. Customers are to their consumers. If that makes sense. So we won't really worry about the cost side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
And we'll go to our final team. Go on. Neil, are you still? Are you able to hear me, Neil? Doesn't seem like it. All right. So, team indecisives, and are all four of you presenting? Great. Okay. We're running a little bit over time, but hopefully not too long. Shouldn't be too far. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Oh, no, that was it. Bless you.
Was that me?
Yeah,
that was me. Oh, my microphone is fixed. Just after I sneezed. I needed a good blowout.
Neil, I sent you a private message just to make sure or something. If you go check that, and then let me know in the messenger. I might also move in as a speaker. That'll be okay. All right. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So you're all speaking?
Yep, is Ani here yet?
Anastasia?
Oh, we'll probably have to wait.
Yeah, Anastasia.
Am I audible? I don't think Ani's joined us yet.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah. Oh, he is?
She's sharing her screen.
Oh no, that's actually me. We've got one more teammate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ani, not Anna. Sorry.
Oh, Ani. Ani, where are you?
Right. I think she's there. Ani, you should be allowed to. You can click the microphone on and the camera on if you'd like to, or
Yeah. Hey, perfect. We made it.
All right, brilliant. Well, whenever you guys are ready, share your slides. You're still on.
Yep.
Awesome. All right.
So everyone can see my slide?
Yes. So I'll say if you're not speaking, then turn your camera and microphone off. So don't be background noises. But when you're ready to go ahead. Good luck.
Sweet. Okay. Hello, we are the Indecisives, and this is our solution to the voluntary uptake of the smart meters. So let's just dig into a good old case study. This is Chris and Susan. So they have lived in their home in sunny Queensland for more than 40 years. And they still believe that the price of electricity is constant. And they try to limit the electricity use at night under the belief that their flat rate is higher at that time. Unfortunately, this means that they haven't been able to stay up to watch their reruns of their favorite TV show, Antique Roadshow. And they also don't really know much about what a smart meter is and are skeptical about how it could help them. What if? Well, what if their retailer could educate them about what a smart meter is and how it could help them save money? What if they had access to electricity pricing forecasts so that they could use electricity when it is cheaper? And what if their everyday actions could save the Australian environment and ecosystem?
Introducing the My EcoCast app, your one-stop shop for keeping track of electricity price, your money savings, and your contributions to saving the environment. How does it work, you ask? This app allows users to track what the current price of electricity is and predicts when the lowest cost will occur. In addition, every time they use electricity at a lower cost, they earn points. And once they accumulate enough points, they can plant a coral in the Great Barrier Reef or plant a tree to save the koalas. Our vision is that in conjunction with a flexible pricing plan offered by retailers, My EcoCast will incentivize people to install a smart meter and change their behavior to flatten the electricity demand curve, as well as contribute to national environmental interests.
The benefits? Everyone wins. Homeowners can save money on their electricity bills by using electricity at a much lower price. They can get a detailed feedback regarding their energy use, as well as contribute directly to an environmental cause. If all residents own a smart meter, retailers can accurately forecast and manage demands. This eliminates monthly meter readings and helps monitor electric systems in real time, so they can purchase electricity more efficiently from the wholesale market. And of course, the Great Barrier Reef and the koalas would be restored faster with this newfound support, which has abundant inherent benefits.
But is the app feasible? Well, to pay for My EcoCast, the retailer will include the cost of the app in their meter charge on the homeowner's electricity bill, and part of that fee will go towards our app. Ultimately, our purpose is achieved. The app provides incentive to take up smart meters to participate in this scheme. In addition, by encouraging electricity use during off-peak times, the demand curve will flatten, making it easier for daily demand to be met by renewables. In conclusion, by providing a well-integrated app that is intuitive to use with benefits to a range of stakeholders, we believe we can increase voluntary uptake of smart meters. Plus, Chris and Susan will finally be able to watch Antiques Roadshow at peace. Thanks for listening.
Can you guys hear me? Yep. All right, good job, guys. Whenever they're ready to ask some questions, go ahead.
Hi team, just a question from myself, or two questions. Can you, so your concept is reliant on the cost of the smart meter being passed to the consumer. Can you talk to why a consumer would want to pay for a smart meter?
I think I can answer that. So what we are offering to customers is that at the moment they're paying pretty much a flat rate, which the retailer selects and chooses as they will. But through our app, we're still offering them access to the wholesale price of electricity. In the process, saving them quite a bit, out of which I'm pretty sure they'd be pretty happy to pass on a slight amount back to retailer, after which it comes to us as sort of like a profit share sort of thing.
Right. Okay. So you're an actual retailer. You would trade that energy, the value that's being created into the marketplace.
Yeah. So we're sort of partnering with retailers and offering their customers the app, so that they can get access to a better offer, pretty much.
Right. Okay. And the second question is probably more of a statement, but the basis of your concept is providing information and switching and changing behavior, getting customers to use energy when it's most beneficial. But you made a statement to your concept is encouraging customers to use electricity in off-peak times. So off-peak times are normally regulated and governed. So you don't necessarily need a smart meter to use energy in off-peak times. So I'm not sure if your reference to off-peak was more around the spikes in the cost of energy throughout the day, or was it specifically in relation to traditional off-peak times, which is normally after 11 p.m. in the evening?
Yes, it was.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, it's more a reference to the spikes in the demand curve rather than the regulated.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry for the terminology confusion.
No, that's okay. Now I get it. So thank you for the clarity.
The judge had a question, so go ahead, Pradnya.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Cool. First of all, great presentation. I really liked your pitch. I just wanted to ask you guys, so when you mentioned the EcoMate would, say for example, like a non-tech savvy couple, like the example that you took, how would you be making them understand how the energy demand is changing by different forecasts? So what are the attributes that you guys are going to focus on in that particular app to, sell what kind of energy forecast is going to happen, or what kind of demand changes is going to happen in the future? Because it was a bit not clear.
So as you asked the question, there are every app usually has a website, which is probably an easier version to use for all the people who are not able to use the app, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. We will also create a backend website for people who are less aware with app technology and stuff like that.
I will also mention, we didn't really go through it in our little demonstration, but there is like an FAQ section of the app or website, and basically that's like an education area of the app. So we inform people about what a smart meter is, how it can help them save money, yeah, things like that.
And also just to add to what Ani mentioned about the website would basically have information and also tutorial videos on how to use the app and also the smart meter as well. So yeah.
All right, brilliant. Neil's got a couple of questions in the chat. I'll let you guys respond to those in the chat at your own time. Marvin, I don't assume you had a question. I'll give you 2 seconds. I will take that as a no. No. All right. Awesome. Great job, guys. That's everything. So that's all. Oh, no, here comes Marvin.
I'm all right. I don't have a question. Thanks, guys.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for hearing us.
All right, great job, guys. So we'll take, I guess, probably 10 minutes or so to just to finalize the scores, and then we'll bring you all back and we'll announce the what do you call it, the winner. So let me just check that I haven't missed anything. No. All right, great. So give you guys a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back.